Welcome back to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Eaton, and this is a whole episode on how to improve your brain. So, this is an episode called Mind Maintenance, how to improve your focus, but this is about improving your focus, improving your productivity, decreasing brain fog. And look, we're in an era right now of technology, of AI, of things that are actually weakening our brains, things that are problem solving for us. And as amazing as it is, it's also lessening our cognition and our ways our brain are sharp. And on top of that, it's really fucking our focus. Our attention spans are shorter than ever. I think the measure is around 3 seconds. And it's become a problem where we're sitting down to work and then suddenly we've had 45 minutes go by and we're not completing anything. So this is all of my favorite daily practices that help keep your mind sharp and focused. So let's dive in, because here's the thing: productivity matters. Feeling productive in your world, feeling creative in my world, feeling good with your mental health comes down to taking care of your brain. And the reality is like we take care of other parts of our body. We can look at our heart and be like, yeah, I want to make sure my heart is really good. I'm going to do some cardio. I want to make sure I'm drinking enough water. I want to make sure that I'm, getting my steps in, whatever that is. Like, we are intentional about taking care of other areas of our body. And this is something that personally kind of pisses me off, that very few people, when we talk about mental health, are actually looking at the brain and the brain structures. So when we're talking about focus, we want to just label it ADD and call it a day. Or when we're talking about brain fog, we want to be like, oh, I'm just getting older and I have a lot on my plate. But the reality is there are daily things that you can do to help your brain work better. And like I said, it is harder than ever. I think that we have so much to pay attention to. Think about this. Back in, like, my grandma was born in 1933, and back in her time, there wasn't the internet. You only knew about what was happening mostly in your home and maybe in your town. But even then, that was about the limit of information that was coming in unless you were seeking it out. And right now, if you open your phone at any given time, people have access to you 24/7. Emails have access to you, brands have access to you. Your access is completely wide open. Not only that, you're getting information. We have information on every single topic. You're going to have information on brain fog. You're going to have information on whether you should have caffeine and it's great for you, whether you should have caffeine and it's bad for you. So we're not only getting information, but we're getting, like, conflicting information that's also scientifically backed, right? And because we have this amount of information coming in, it's leading to, like, mental fatigue and decision overload. We have too many decisions from the minute we start our day. So how could we possibly make powerful decisions throughout our day and feel solid and confident in that and grounded in that, to make things that are in our highest and best good? And not to mention, this really leads to stress and emotional clutter. We're not spending much time with ourselves. We're not. We're not even spending much time with our children. We're not as present as we used to be. We're not as connected as we used to be. We're not having relationships like we used to be. Dating is a completely different story right now of how that is and how connections are being formed. So everything is changing with the things we have access to with AI. AI is making decisions for us. AI is taking out the area and the part of our brain that is responsible for problem solving, which is a really, really important part of our brain. So they're expecting there's a cognitive decline coming. And I'm certainly not going to be part of it. And I don't want you to be a part of it. So today we're going to talk all about some daily practices and tools that you can do to set yourself up for success, to get your focus back, to feel like you're mentally sharp again. So here are a couple of things that I think are really important. Number one, grounding. Now, this doesn't seem like a mind activity, but when you are very anxious, when you're very distracted, when you're very unfocused, grounding your energy can be one of the most powerful things to get back in your body, to have your brain and your soul be lined up. So there's a million ways that you can ground your energy. I love to do it through a meditation. I have a bunch of meditations and frequencies in the Comeback Club, my online membership. But you can ground through going outside and walking barefoot on the grass. You can just stand outside or sit outside in the mornings. That's a really great way to get grounded. I love the idea and the feeling of just breathing up through your feet as though they were straws, just kind of pulling that energy up to you. And if you even do that right now, putting your feet on the ground and breathing up from them, you're going to feel a massive shift. Even just for 5 minutes, even if you just did that for 3 minutes, I guess, like any amount of time, if you can pull energy up from your feet, it will help you ground. So, grounding is going to be a really great way to start this practice because I think sometimes if we're doing the mental work and we're not feeling the effects, that tells me you're not grounded. So, above all of these things that we're going to talk about today, I want you to think about, am I grounded? And what is the practice I'm doing in the morning to get grounded in my body? Working out is also a great way to get grounded because what we're really saying, and this is true in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, like we talk about it in a woo woo way, but also when we're trying to get somebody back in their body, we're doing somatic therapy, we're getting them refocused inside of themselves. What we'll have them do is we'll have them use their senses. We'll have them name 5 things that they can see, 4 things they can hear, 3 things they can smell, 2 things they can taste, and just incorporate their senses. So, it's really helpful to ground before you do any of this. So even if you have a small 5-second grounding practice, even if you're setting the intention, I'm getting grounded in my body, I feel a little more grounded every day, that is going to be a great jump off point. And honestly, like I believe that grounding and ADD are hand in hand. That can be very, very effective practice for ADD. That can be a very, very effective practice for people with anxiety. So if you have ADD or anxiety, that's a great start for you, is to find a grounding practice. And again, you can go on YouTube and you can find, how do I ground? Grounding music, grounding meditations. And when we're talking meditations, like you don't have to sit and think of nothing. Like that's okay if you can't sit and think of nothing. But if you can focus time on getting grounded, on at least listening to the YouTube, on at least listening to the binaural beats or frequency sound, the Schumann resonance is a great way to do that. You can type that into YouTube as well. I'll try to drop some links in the show notes so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. But grounding is number 1. Number 2, we have busy lives. I know for me, I have 2 businesses. I have a house to run and I have 2 children, one who's in her senior year and one who's in travel ball. And they're both in very intensive after school activities that require a lot of time and energy for both them and me. And so one of the things that I like to do in the morning is a mental decluttering. I don't do this every morning, but I can tell the mornings I wake up and I need to. My brain is just not settling anywhere. So one of the things that I like to do is a brain dump. I like to just sit down, open my computer, and just write anything that comes to mind for 5 to 10 minutes. And in the artist way, they call it clearing the gutters. This is a morning practice in art, the artist way. And so you just commit to clearing the gutters to your creativity. And you can do this in a variety of ways. You can do this handwriting. A lot of people like handwriting. I like to type it because I think really fast and I type really fast. I don't write as fast. So it helps me get all of my thoughts out. And the most important part about this is just not judging it. So this is really one way to clear your mental tabs, to clear out the gutters of yesterday, to clear out the old things that are coming up from yesterday, because every day is a brand new day. And it's a great opportunity for you to reset. Another opportunity is to schedule a mental reset day or week or even evening. Now, a lot of people will say, Nicole, I don't have time. You just mentioned all the things I have to do. Here's the thing about any of the work you do on yourself, you have to create time. You have to get intentional. If you're not creating time and you're not getting intentional, you're going to let life run over you. And I will say that at different seasons of my life, this looked different. So I'm talking about this as a business owner and a mom of teenagers where I can see them off to school at 8:30, get my workout in and start my day at 10. Work till 4, right? Like I create my own schedule. Now there was a time where I didn't. There was a time where my kids were little. My kids were up at 5 a.m. I wasn't going to do a morning routine. So your mental reset gets to be whatever you need it to be. Andrew Huberman talks about non-sleep deep rest, NSDR. And he talks about resting without sleeping, without doing anything, without listening to anything, and the power of that. And they actually have NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, on YouTube. You can plug in and just have that timer set to just be and exist and do nothing. And that's one of the most powerful resets we can do as well. So your mental rest can look however much time you want it, however long you want it. If you want a whole day, like some Sundays I'll take off and just be off of social media, be kind of keeping to myself. I like to create, I like to bake, I like to do stuff like that day. So whatever mental reset means or looks like to you, there's power in creating and cultivating time for that. All right, the third piece is engineering your environment to work for you, not against you. If your workspace is cluttered, you're going to feel chaotic. We are a reflection of the energy in our environment. And how can we be grounded and how can we have a clear mind when there's a million things that we need to do on our table? I also am a huge fan of list making because for me, if it's not written down, it does not exist. So if it's not written down and it does exist, it's just floating in my head and my brain keeps bringing it up so I won't forget it. So list making before bed is a great way to get better sleep, and list making when you're sitting down to work so that you know what's next. I like to do this at the end of my work day. So like 4 p.m. rolls around and I'm going to sit there and I'm just going to jot down the things that I need to do tomorrow for sure. And that way I'm not trying to remember the next day. That way I'm not trying to it's easier for me to get focused on what I need to do for that time period. The other really important thing is removing distractions. Guys, your phone is ruining your brain, ruining your brain. So, giving yourself time without your phone, putting it in a different room, um, removing the distractions, like having your TV on all the time, turn it off. Be able to be in your own experience without anything kind of hitting you up. And also, your phone in the morning is an absolute problem. I did an entire episode with a nervous system specialist on like how damaging it is in the morning to start priming your brain for a chaotic dopamine overloaded day. So your job is to remove the distractions in your space so that you can focus on the things that are really important to you. And these are just small things that you can do. You don't have to do all of these at once. You can do one at a time. You can try removing your distractions for 35 minutes a day, right? You can try organizing your workspace to cultivate more creativity and reduce the sensory overload. There's a million things that you can do, and you get to decide what is speaking to you right now. And this is part of like how I teach people to use their intuition, right? Is I'm going to give you all these tips, but what one's speaking to you? So the next thing is sleep. The reality is twofold, right? Sleep matters in terms of your focus. There is a direct link. The other thing is nutrition for your brain health. There was a study that I was listening to, and this was on the Diary of the CEO. The guy was talking about the link between sunlight and inflammation reduction. And so getting outside in the sunlight, guys, and getting some vitamin D helps reduce inflammation. And if we think about brain fog, it helps balance our ability to think properly and feel good in our body. The other thing that you want to be mindful of is like eating and drinking water. Sometimes I feel like I can't focus, I can't think. I just need food. How long do we work without food? How long do we feel grumpy or irritable? And then we have a snack and we're like, oh, wait a second. Our blood sugar is directing our focus too. So if you're somebody who chronically skips breakfast, maybe I'm speaking directly to you, babe. When I was working for a not-for-profit counseling agency, we took an ADHD specialization class. And I just remember very blatantly, this is something that still stays true. Even now that we're in the era of protein everything, if you have a protein loaded breakfast, it will help you focus. That is science. That has been true for a long time. So I'm not jumping on the bandwagon here. This is really important for your brain health. And why this works in ADHD clients is that the stimuli comes in and it doesn't have the receptors to stick to. So when we intake that protein, it basically creates more things for it to stick to. And the information gets to come in and stay a little longer than if it were to come in and kind of roll back out because it doesn't have anything to stick to. And the next thing you want to do is attention training. So meditation is obviously, I will always hype up meditation. And the thing about meditation is that I want to point out is a lot of people think that meditation means you have to completely silence your brain. You don't. You can breathe in over a count of 6 and breathe out over a count of 8. And that is considered meditation. You're intentionally focused on your breath. You're intentionally present in your body. that is considered meditative. So if you feel like you're not going to be able to focus for 45 minutes and do a meditation, like that's okay. That's not what the point is. The point is for you to get back in your body, back in your mind, and back with your power outside of the distractions of the world. So meditation can look walking, it can look like cleaning, it can look like baking, it can look like all sorts of different things. So meditation doesn't have to be the standard what you think of as meditation, clearing your mind and not having a thought in the world. That's not how I meditate, and that's not how I encourage other people to meditate. And a lot of people who have busy minds like meditation that's guided and fast. So I would say do a 12 to 20-minute max meditation, 12 minutes. Like there's so many really good meditations out there that will walk you through scenery, and it will help your brain stay focused and have a voice to stay focused on, and that is just as effective. And also single tasking versus multitasking, like don't be watching a show and be on your phone. I mean, like at the end of the day, try to put the other things away and focus your task a whole 100%. One thing that I do that helps me with this is sometimes I'll do the task a different place. So I'll have a busy morning in my office and then I'll sit down to write. I'm working on a book right now and I'll feel like I can't focus to do that. So I'll move and go outside. So that's a really great step for me to get my focus back. The other thing that I do that I swear works, and I'm not even entirely sure what the science is behind this, other than potentially maybe grounding or the cue that you're ready to do something, but putting my shoes on, if I can't focus, I put my sneakers on and I tie them tight. It's almost like a little bit of a weight that pulls me down to help me focus. So try that one out. And then creating digital boundaries for yourself is really important. I love a good app limit. My kids have app limits. And at one point I was like, why don't I have app limits? And so I also have a 1.5, 2 hours max on social media, just even though I create content and a lot of that time is spent on there, there's also time where I realized I wasn't spending on there. The other thing that I can recommend if you are a digital creator is batching instead of constantly checking. So batching your content either on a Monday or Tuesday so you have it for the week, or batching your emails. And that way you have it all set and all you have to do is click a button and you don't have to spend a lot of time in there. That can be a really helpful thing. But again, putting your phone away as much as frequently as you can, creating rituals around, eating dinner as a family and having your phone not at the table. Those all ways to help your brain move into the present moment where it is the most powerful, where it is the most sharp, and where you can be actively involved in the conversations you're having. A couple of other things that I would suggest is mental priming. I'm big on mental priming. Mental priming looks like I write a letter to the universe every morning. This helps me focus in on what do I want? How do I want to feel? Instead of just becoming reactive to the day around me, it helps my brain really think about not who I am, who I've been, but where am I going? What do I want? What do I want? It's easy to wake up with the story of like, oh, it's just another day that sucks, or I'm exhausted this morning. And instead, we're saying, no, I feel good. My body feels good. I'm putting myself in a position to take care of myself today, to love on myself today, to show up for myself today. In gratitude journaling, what we focus on, we see more of. So if you are stuck in a negative cycle and your mind feels kind of a loopy like that, it's looping in a negative cycle, gratitude journaling, going through your day and seeing what you can be grateful for. Right now, I'm just looking out my backyard and I'm so grateful. We have a pool. We have a really nice setup back there. It's been such a wonderful thing for our family. And I'm just really grateful for that, even as I'm saying this podcast. So you can find in any moment any little thing to be grateful for. So I want you to be working on your mind. I want you to be using these and tell me which ones you chose. Tell me which ones made sense for you. And again, remembering that our mind is a muscle and we've let it be trained by outside stimuli. And now it's our time to take it back. So this is your time, and this gets to be your next level where you're not in brain fog all the time and you're not unfocused all the time, and that you're getting shit done because the impact you need to make on the world matters. And the only person here to do it is you. And if you don't do it, someone else will. And that's the reality. We have an identity shifting masterclass coming up on the Comeback Club. So make sure that you get registered. I will drop a link in the show notes so you can get in. I can't wait to see you in there. It's going to be incredible. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week.